Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this chevron here. So this is a very sharp chevron. As you can see, one of my favorites is a very sharp chevron. I love it. It's beautiful. So this particular chevron here is about 36 by 60. All right. Of course, you can make yours any size that you want because I'll give you the multiple, and you can use, any yarn that you want as well. And you can change colors as often as you like. So this particular one that you see right here, the color is changed every 2 rows. So 2 rows of 4 different colors. So you can see there's the taupe looking color, green, light purple, and dark purple, and then it just repeated itself. But you know what I mean? You change it however often you want. You can do make it solid. You can do 50 colors. Change every row, every 20 rows. Do 2 rows on one color, 10 rows on the next. It's up to you. Sky's the limit. But that's it. So I don't got a lot of room here to show you, but I love sharp chevrons. They are so pretty. Now you can do this because the only stitch in it is single crochet in the chain stitch. If you know how to chain a single crochet, wait. There's a double at the end of the row. If you know how to single crochet, chain, and double crochet, you got this. Are you ready? Let's do it. All right, for this particular blanket that you see there, it was made with Lion brand Jiffy yarn. It is a 100% acrylic yarn. It is classified as a bulky number 5. You don't have to use this yarn. You don't even have to use a bulky 5. Okay? But I'm just showing you what I used. So there are 681 yards or 623 meters per ball for the total blanket, using for the size I'm making, using a bulky 5, and I used 4 colors. It took about 1,800 yards of a bulky 5 to make the blanket the size that I did. Now, if you want to use like a 4-weight, you can plan on having to use a little bit more yarn than that, but I'm not quite sure because I didn't make it in a 4-weight, but I can just tell you, what it took for mine. And then the colors I used, I told you I used 4, was slate. And then we used, forest, eggplant, and one more, plum. Now remember, you use whatever yarn and any colors you want, however many colors that you want. And for this particular blanket, a size K, which is a 6.5 millimeter hook, was used. If you're using a different weight of yarn, such as like a 4-weight or a 3-weight, I would just use the recommended hook that it says to use on the label. All right. But remember, you will need more yarn and a bigger chain count than me if you're using a smaller yarn, if you're wanting it about the same size. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start. Now, since this blanket right here has an extremely sharp chevron, it's a very sharp dip. All right, so these are your peaks here, and the valleys are valleys are down here. All right, peaks are the highs, valleys are the low. Super, this would be a very sharp chevron. Now, the sharper the chevron, the more it will shrink as you go. So you're going to have to start with a very, very long chain in order to achieve the right size. All right, you know what I mean? So because as you chain, or as you do your stitches, you got your chain, like me saying it's so sharp, it just shrinks it up. It'll shrink up your chain to almost nothing. So you have to do a very long chain for a sharp chevron like this. All right. So this particular blanket is done in a multiple of 34 plus 2. So what that means is you just chain in multiples of 34, 34, 34, 34, 34, 34, 34, until you get to your desired length, and then you add 2 more to it. Now, I will say though, this being such a sharp chevron, it is going to shrink almost 30 inches of your chain will shrink. So following me with the bulky 5 and the 6.5 millimeter to get about a 30-inch across, I start with a chain of 274. That is a very long chain, but you have to remember, the chain was like 98 inches long when the blanket was made, but by the time that it shrunk up, the blanket only ended up being 38 inches. So it took off about 30 inches. Those sharp chevrons took away about 30 inches of the chain length. So if you're doing a different size than mine, you just have to keep that in mind, that say you want a blanket that's 40 inches across, you would have to chain probably, I don't know, 60 to 70 inches to reach approximately 40 inches because of the shrinkage factor. All right. And remember, it has to be done in a multiple of a 34 plus 2. I hope that makes sense. But you want to follow along with me? 274. It's going to be an extremely, extremely long chain. But don't worry, it's going to shrink up to this, well, the one you seen shrunk 30 inches. So using the 6.5 millimeter, you got your chain of 200, and you want to go ahead and chain 274. So like I said, this is a very, very easy stitch. It's just pretty much all single crochet. So when I'm going to be saying V-stitch, and when I say V-stitch, a V-stitch for this particular chevron is a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. That's like a single crochet V-stitch. So when I say V-stitch, you know that it's single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. All right, let's begin. So we are going to, I got my chain, I'm doing it on a smaller scale, but otherwise you do your chain however long you want in a multiple of 34 plus 2. And we will start row 1, and we are going to single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. So we don't count the one that's on our hook. There's 1, 2. Single crochet into that second stitch. Just like that. Okay. Now we're going to skip 1 stitch. Skip 1. In the next, we're going to work a V-stitch. So we're going to skip, and in this one, we work our V-stitch, which is 1 single crochet, a chain of 2, go back into the same stitch and work another single crochet, just like that. Now we are going to skip 2 stitches, skip, skip, and V-stitch into the next. So single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. That's our V-stitch. Now we want to repeat that 4 times. All right. So that would be number 1. So again, skip 2 stitches, skip, skip, and V-stitch into the next. Single, chain 2, and single. So that would be 2 times. Again, skip 2, skip, skip, and V-stitch into the next. Single, chain 2, single. So that was 3 times we have done that. So one more time, skip 2, skip, skip, and V-stitch into the next. Like that. All right, now we're going to start the repeat pattern of row 1. Okay. we're going to skip 2 stitches. Skip, skip. And we are going to do a V-stitch, chain 3, V-stitch, all into the next stitch. All right, so skip your 2, skip, skip. In the next stitch, we're going to work a V-stitch, so a single, chain 2, and single. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then back into that same stitch, we're going to work another V-stitch, a single, chain 2, and go back in and another single. So what we've done there is the peak, our first peak. The peaks are the high points and the valleys are the low. So this is our first peak. It's a V-stitch, chain 3, and a V-stitch. All right. Now we're going to skip 2 stitches. Make sure you kind of pull them apart because sometimes they get a little tight. Skip, skip. In the next, we're going to V-stitch. Single, chain 2, and single. And again, we want to repeat that 4 times. So that was number 1. Again, skip 2, skip, skip. And in the next, V-stitch. Single, chain 2, single, so that was twice, skip 2, skip, skip, V-stitch into the next, that was 3 times. One more time, skip 2, skip, skip, and the next, V-stitch. So that was 4 times that we did that. Now we're going to skip 2 stitches again, skip, skip, and we're going to put 1 single crochet in the next. 1 only single crochet, just like that. And then we're going to skip 3 stitches. Skip, 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 skip your 3, and a single crochet into the next. And that we just made is the valley. So we got our peak, and that right down here is the valley. Peaks are high, valleys are the low. All right. All right. And now what we're going to do is, again, we are going to skip 2 stitches, skip, skip, V-stitch into the next. And again, we need to do that 4 times. So that was 1. Again, skip 2 stitches, skip, 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 V-stitch into the next. Skip, that was twice. Again, skip 2, skip, skip, V-stitch into the next. That was 3 times. 1 more time. Skip 2, skip, skip, V-stitch into the next. Like that ends the repeat of row 1, and we would just keep repeating that. So the repeat starts, remember, up here at the valley, or I'm sorry, up here at the peak, 2 skip stitches before it. So we're going to start the repeat again. We're going to skip 2, skip, skip, and we're going to put the peak. So we're going to do a V-stitch, chain 3, V-stitch into the next. Remember to skip your 2, skip, skip, and we V-stitch, chain 3, Go back in, excuse me, into the same stitch and V-stitch again. Like that. And then we skip 2, skip, skip, V-stitch into the next. And we want to repeat that 4 times total. So that was number 1. Number 2, skip, skip, V-stitch into the next. That's 2 times. Again, skip, skip, V-stitch into the next. That was 3 times. One more time, skip, skip, V-stitch into the next. Oops, sorry about that. All right, then we're going to skip 2, skip, skip, 1 single crochet all by himself. Then we're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, skip, 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 1 single crochet into the next all by himself. And we made the valley again. So now we have, look, 2 peaks and 2 valleys like that. And then we would need to skip 2 stitches, skip, skip, and V-stitch into the next. And you want to do that 4 times total. So that was 1. Again, skip 2, skip, skip, V into the next. That was 2 times. Again, skip 2, skip, skip, V into the next. That was 3 times. Skip 2, skip, skip, V into the next. And then we would start our repeat again. And that's what we would keep repeating for row 1 until we get to the last 20 stitches of our row. So we would start again with our repeat 2 stitches before our peak. So we would just skip 2, skip, skip, and then we would make our peak. All right, so just keep repeating that pattern until you get to the last 20 stitches of your row, and that's where I'll meet back up with you. All right, so I've made it to the last 20 stitches here, 20 stitches that remain. So this is what we're going to do to finish off row 1. We're going to skip 2 stitches, skip, skip, and we're going to do the 2 V's, chain 3, 2 V's into the next stitch. So skip your 2, skip, skip. So we're making a peak here. So V-stitch, chain 3, and go back into that same spot and do another V-stitch. Like that. All right, now we are going to skip 2, skip, skip, and V-stitch into the next. And now we want to repeat that 5 times total. So that was number 1. Again, we're going to skip 2, skip, skip, V-stitch into the next. That was number 2. skip, skip, V-stitch into the next. That was 3, skip, skip, V-stitch into the next. That was 4, skip, skip, V-stitch into the next. So that's a total of 5 times that we did that. And we have 2 stitches that remain. We're going to skip 1 stitch, skip 1, double crochet into the last stitch. Whew. All right, that's row 1. Okay, that's what it starts to look like. So, okay, row 2. Row 2 is just, it's the repeat row. So we're just going to keep repeating row 2. All right, so it's easier now. It's easier now. It's all easy. Okay, you got this. So row 2, we are going to do a chain 1 and we're going to turn our work. We are going to put the chain 1 does not count as a stitch. We're going to put a single crochet right here into the first double crochet. And then we are going to put a single crochet in the chain 2 space of the first V-stitch. So right here, single crochet. All right. So now we are going to put a V-stitch in the chain 2 space of the next V-stitch, and we need to do that over 5 V-stitches. All right, let's do it. So we jump to our next chain 2 space of our V-stitch, and we work our V-stitch with a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, jump to the next one, which would be number 2, chain 2 space of it. We work single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. That's number 2. Jump to the next one, chain 2 space of it, work a V-stitch, so that's 1, 2, 3. Jump to the next one right here, V-stitch in that chain 2 space, that's 4, and here we are at our peak right here. You know how we put 2 in the peak, 1 here, a chain 3, and another. This one right here is our 5th one because we have to do 5 in a row. So in that chain 2 space of that V-stitch, we work another V-stitch, single, chain 2, and a single. Now we're going to start the repeat of row 2. In this chain 3 space, we're going to work a V-stitch, a chain 3 in the V-stitch. That's what always goes into the chain 3 spaces. All right, so go into it and you work your first V-stitch, single, chain 2, single, then we chain 3, go back into the space and work another V-stitch, single, chain 2, slide it over if you need to, and single. So that was a V-stitch, chain 3, V-stitch. Now we are going to put a V-stitch into the chain space of the next 4 V-stitches. All right. Here we go. That's 1. Here's our next chain 2 space. That's 2. Here's our next chain 2 space. That's 3. Next chain 2 space. That's 4. Now we're going to put a single crochet, one lonely single crochet, into the next 2 chain 2 spaces, or the chain 2 space of the V-stitch, right? So right here, 1 single crochet, and then we're just gonna, this was the valley, this is the valley right here, so we're gonna jump all the way over here to this V-stitch. See that? This one, we're skipping all this right here and single crocheting into this one, and that creates the valley, makes it deeper like that. And then we are going to put a V-stitch in the chain 2 space of the next 4 V-stitches from the previous row. So go into the chain 2 space and we single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, jump to the next chain 2 space, V-stitch, single, chain 2, and single. That's 2 of them. Next one, single, chain 2, single. That's 3 of them. Next one right here, number 4, single, chain 2, single, and now we start our repeat over again. So that ends the repeat for row 2. So we're just going to repeat it again, and the repeat starts right up here in the chain 3 space. All right, and every time we get the chain 3 space up here, it gets 2 V's, chain 3, and 2, I'm sorry, it gets 1 V-stitch, a chain 3, and 1 V-stitch. All right, and remember our V-stitches are single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into that chain space there, and then we chain 3 again and do another V into the same chain space. So remember, we're just repeating what we did again for row 2, repeating the repeat of row 2 like that. And then we're going to put a V-stitch in the chain 2 space of the next V-stitches from the previous row. All right. So we need 4 in a row. There's 1. Next one's right here. There's 2. Next one's right here. And we're going into the chain 2 space. That's 3. Next one's right here. So that was 4. Now we're down at the valley. Down here at the valley, all right? So in the next V-stitch here that you see, we put 1 only single crochet into that chain 2 space. Just 1. We got to make the valley, it runs deep. So we got to skip all this stuff right here, skipping it all, and jumping over here to the next V-stitch and putting 1 single crochet into that. Do it kind of tight so you can pull the valley together. Here we go. See that valley? It goes deep. All right. Okay, and then we're going to do a V-stitch in the chain 2 space of the next 4 chain 2 spaces. There's 1, 2, 3, and this will be number 4. That, and then you would just repeat again, starting up here at your peak. You would just keep repeating that and repeating that. So that looks cool, doesn't it? Chevrons are so cool. I love chevrons and ripples. So you would just start again at the peak and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And you want to repeat that until you get to the last, the chain 3 space of the last peak of your row. All right. And that's where I'll meet back up with you. All right. So here is the last chain 3 space, the last peak until I'm finished here. So this is what we're going to do to finish it off. In this chain 3 space, we're going to put what we always put in every chain 3 space, which is a V-stitch, a chain of 3, and another V-stitch. Like that. And now we need to put a V-stitch into the chain 2 space of the next 5 V-stitches. All right. So here's our first one. So there's 1. Jump to the next chain 2 space of the next V-stitch. V-stitch in it. That's 2. Next one. That's 3. Next one. That's 4. Next one. That's 5. And you'll have 1 V-stitch here left. See that? And we are going to put just 1 single crochet into this last chain 2 space of the last V-stitch. Like that. And then we're going to put a double crochet into the last stitch here, the single crochet. And that will end row 2. And that will end the repeat. Row 2 is the repeat. So we would just keep repeating row 2 back and forth, back and forth. Now for the blanket you see in the picture, the color is changed every 2 rows. So if you want to do it like the one in the picture, you would change colors here and then repeat row 2 twice in that color. And then change colors and repeat row 2 again twice in whatever color. But you can do 10 rows in one color if you want, and then 2 rows in the next color. You can do it all solid if you want. You can change every row, every 3 rows, like I'm talking, like, doesn't matter. 20 rows and then 1 row of another color and then 20 rows. You do it however you want. That's the beauty of a chevron. The color combinations and how you do them are endless. They're so cool and it's so fun to do. You can just make them, you make them, you know, any colors. Do whatever, however many number of rows you want in between each color. But like I said, for the one that you see in the picture, the color was changed every 2 rows. So it would have been changed after this row. And then what would happen is just repeat row 2 again. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat row 2 again just to show you. But remember, for the one that you see in the picture, the color would have been changed. But I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to go ahead with this color one more time just to show you row 2. So remember, this is the row that we just keep repeating. Chain 1 and turn, and a single crochet back into that double crochet like that. And then we're going to put a single crochet into the next chain 2 space. So right over here, the next V-stitch, single crochet. Okay, like that. And then we're going to put a V-stitch into the next 5 V-stitches from the previous row. Chain 2 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're just repeating row 2. You'll see how easy it becomes. So in the chain 2 space, we work the V-stitch, which is a single, chain 2, single. So we do that 5 times. There's 1. There's 2. Next one. There's 3. Next one. There's 4. Next one right here before the chain 3 space would be number 5. That. All right, now we start the repeated row 2 again. Remember, we're just row 2, doing the same thing that we just did. In this chain 3 space, always in the chain 3 space, is a V-stitch, chain 3, and another V-stitch. Like that. And now we're going to put a V-stitch in the chain space of the next 4 V-stitches. That's 1. That's 2. Next one. That's 3. Next one. That's 4. Now we're down here to our valley, our deep, deep valley. So in this next V-stitch here, before this deep valley, it just gets one lonely single crochet into that chain 2 space. And then we're skipping all this, skip it all. Over, jump over here to the next V-stitch, the chain 2 space of it. Single crochet into that one time. Pull it kind of tightly so we have a nice deep valley. There it is. All right, now we're going to put a V-stitch in the chain 2 space of the next 4 V-stitches. That's 1. Two. 3. Last one's right here before the chain 3 space. And that is 4. And then we start the repeat of row 2 again in the chain 3 space. And you know what goes in the chain 3 space is the V-stitch, chain 3, a V-stitch. And then we just keep repeating that until we get to the last chain 3 space of our row. All right, I'll meet back up with you. Now remember, we are just repeating row 2. I'm just showing you one more time. Okay, it's just a repeat of row 2. Alrighty, so I have made it to the last chain 3 space. Remember, just repeating row 2. So to end row 2 again, in this chain space, we're going to do our V-stitch, chain 3, V-stitch. Like that. And then we're going to put our V-stitch into the next 5 chain 2 spaces of our previous V-stitches. So it's 5 here on the ends. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. 1 more. Make 5. Okay, that leaves us with 1 chain 2 space here. See? We're going to put a single crochet into, just 1 single crochet into that space. And then we are going to skip all this into the very last stitch here. We're going to double crochet. If you want to try to keep your, go ahead and double crochet into the very last stitch. Just like that. Okay? That's it. It's just a repeat of row 2. And after a while, this was actually really fun to do. Just keep repeating row 2. You change colors as often as you like. All right. The size will start to look a little. Let's start to take effect more. The more rows you do. I do want to show you something. After you've repeated row 2 a few times, it's going to look like you have a lot of stitches left at the ends. So I just did my 5 V-stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it appears like there's a bunch of stitches left. All right, but there's not really. It's just because our ends, they're actually going to start going straight up. All right, they're not going to keep going out at an angle. So even though it appears like there's tons of stitches left, you have the correct amount. Just remember that this peak is going to stand straight up on your blanket. So this end here is actually, the more rows you do, it's going to start working straight up like this. So if you start to look, you're getting to the end and it's looking like, hey, I got way too many stitches. Just remember you don't. So I did my 5. I'm ending this row 2. I just wanted to bring this up because it looks wonky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like I'm supposed to. And then I would do my, see, there's only 1 V-stitch left, see, and over here is the last stitch, right, of the row. So you would single crochet into that last V-stitch, and you want to make your ends kind of tight too. And then you would need to double crochet into your last stitch and do it kind of tight. Make your end as tight as possible. See, like that? Just like that. So that is not wrong, all right? Like I said, when you're working it long ways like that, you're like, oh, I got so many stitches left. You know, that's what it looks like. I mean, you're not wrong in thinking that. But just the more rows you do, you see, it's actually, the sides start going up. They're not gonna be angled out, all right? So, you know what I mean? Point of the chevron, it goes. I'm just trying to explain the best I can. It starts to go up. So I'm going to repeat row 2 again, because remember, it is just a row 2 repeat, where I would chain 1 and turn, single crochet into the first double, and then you would single crochet into the next chain 2 space of the next V, and then you would V-stitch into your next 5. So I'll just do one real quick and show you at the sides over time. They start to go straight up. All right, and they'll keep going straight up. So when you get over here to the end again, it's going to look like you'll do your 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you got like all these stitches left, but really you don't. You got you'll have 1 chain 2 space left at the end. This is the end of row 2, and that's where you'd single crochet, and you want to do it as tight as possible. Double crochet right here into the last stitch. All right, and remember, the V's are working up, so your sides start to work up. Blank it out so you can see. Remember, it's just that 1 row repeat. You change your colors as much as you want. That is you. All right, you don't have to do it like me. You do it like you. I just show you, and then you do it how you like it. So sorry, backwards. I guess there's not really a backwards, but so this is what it starts to look like, and you can see the rows will start to straighten up as you go up, and as you go up here. Now and you do that, and you keep repeating that until your blanket reaches about 60 inches, you know, if you're following along with me. But you make it any size that you want, all right? Any size that you want. Now, one thing some people will probably ask is, can I put a border on it? I generally don't border chevrons or ripples, but sometimes I will. You can put a border on it if you want to straighten up these edges, because you can see they do got a bit of a gap here, just a bit here. That's not bad though. Especially, yeah, it's not bad. It's not enough for me to want to put a border on it, but if you do, I think a nice simple single crochet border, like evenly spaced around, would be okay. And then, you know, you'd have to, if I was going to do a single crochet border, I think I would do evenly space out my single crochet down the sides. And then when I got to these V stitches here on the ends, I think I would do V stitches in them again. And then I would do what I do in my chain 3 space, and probably do the V stitches all the way up the side. And then I would do evenly spaced out single crochets up here. And then at the bottom, you know, just probably do V stitches the same way. That's kind of what I would do, but I'm not going to border I'm not going to border it, because like I said, I don't usually border chevron. Sometimes, but not usually. I think it looks fine the way that it is. It's beautiful. Suits me just fine. And I am super, super stoked. I really, really like chevrons, and my favorite chevrons are the super sharp ones like this. It's just a lot of memories from the olden days, you know. And I love to see, can't wait to see what yarn you guys use, what colors you guys use, how often you guys change rows. Please, how big you make them, you know. I'm excited to see that. This is a really fun one to do, because your imagination with this is endless. You could do it, you know, anyway, and it's going to be super beautiful. So if you make this, please show me a picture on my Facebook page. There's a link to that below in the description box. And don't forget to, if you enjoyed this video, found it easy to follow, which I hope that you did, please give me a thumbs up and a comment below. That always helps. And hit that subscribe button. I got tons and tons of tutorials, not just blankets. I got everything that you could ever want to make. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, all right, of tutorials, all free for you to enjoy. All right, see you guys on my next video. Take care. Bye.